What's going on, everyone? You're listening to the Asian MMA Podcast, where we talk about everything and anything going on in the world of Asian MMA. I'm Dana Bluen, and this episode is brought to you by Really Shitty Fight Photography. Well, that's mostly because of my guest. He's sponsoring, I guess.
Yes, that's me.
But guys, we have a little something different today. I've got John Walsh, the founder of the Clinch Report, who's now, they're California-based, but he's actually been in Asia for a few years now, doing quite a bit of fight photography. And I thought it'd be just a great perspective to get a fight photographer, someone who's in the game, who's actually doing it, making it happen here, to talk about some of the things he's seen all over Asia. So, Walsh, thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
So, talk about just the differences. We were joking around before about some of the things that you see here that you wouldn't even see on like Indian reservations back in Cali.
What a different world it is. You think mixed martial arts, it's all mixed, and you're going to get a mixture of everything. It's different.
Right? It's a different world altogether, right?
Totally different. Things like a Trinity fight series that I've shot, where the first round of a fight is, boxing with
right?
Muay Thai gloves.
Yeah.
The second round is Muay Thai, and the third round is MMA. Like,
do they wear Muay Thai gloves in the in Trinity's?
I mean,
round
sorry,
one?
no, that was MMA gloves the whole time.
Yeah, so it's just different rule sets, same gloves.
And it's a tournament style in one night. So these guys are fighting. The winners fight three times that night.
Well, 3 fights, 9 rounds possibly total.
Although rare.
Yeah. You don't see too many of those fights go the distance. But man, some good fights there though.
Absolutely. Last one I think finished with a broken arm from a leg kick. That
I missed that one.
It's brutal.
What was it?
Yeah, in Thailand, people know how to kick.
Yeah, well, no doubt. Here in Thailand, people they know how to bang, right? For sure.
Unbelievable. I mean, even just the Muay Thai scene, how many broken arms I've seen, it's astonishing.
What was it, MBK Fight Night the other night you were telling me about, where there was like 2 broken arms and like massive cut?
Yeah, I mean, 2 massive cuts. I could have put a 7-Eleven toasty inside of them. It was like an extra mouth over their eye.
You love those toasties, bro.
Who doesn't love those toasties?
I'm not a toasty fan. Not a toasty fan.
I guess you don't love those toasties.
No,
You're the one.
I'm the one guy who doesn't buy the toasties.
Yeah.
They are popular though. But yeah, man, I've been to the MBK Fight Nights. It's straight Muay Thai, and sometimes they do the bare knuckle with the wraps. But yeah, the Trinity Fight Series, and I like I said, I just want to give it a little bit more context for some of the listeners who maybe don't know, because we have seen sort of a rise of these mixed type events over the last few years, where it's, one round will be boxing and then Muay Thai, and then the last round might be MMA. And I think they were doing 3-minute rounds that night.
I believe so.
And, some of the times, you see these fights and you're just like, what is going on? Who would agree to something like this?
You see someone in a straight boxing rules throwing elbows.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw the very first fight, someone came out and the guy just throws a kick straight up, like his second strike. And he's like, oh, my bad, sorry. And they just, shrug it off.
Yep, keep going.
But, and they do it in a ring. But for those people who, just to give some context of location, it's in the Ambassador Hotel, which is a big hotel. It just happens to be located like right in the middle of Bangkok in Soi Nana 11, right?
Yes, my street.
Yeah, your hood.
Yeah.
And, so like in that area, like if you know Bangkok, you know what that area is known for. And it's not fight sport. So
more fun times, I would say.
Yeah.
And Q23 Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah, Q23 Jiu-Jitsu. Big shout out to Adam over there.
Home away from home.
Yeah, that's where my girlfriend trains. She loves it over there. And she told me that you were roughing her up on the mat, so I gotta get you some knee on belly.
We'll try that after.
Yeah.
Not on video, please.
Are you sure? I think people would like to see that.
Probably 3 people.
3 people.
Mainly ex-girlfriends and such, but yes.
I'm sure Uncle Bob would like to see that video.
Yes, I think he would, and now, hope he recovers from his eye surgery, by the way.
Well, I think he's been talking about that surgery for a long time, and I'll have Bob on pretty soon, hopefully. For those of you guys who don't know, Bob Fisher, founder of Pugil Picks, fantastic fight photographer, and he's been bouncing back and forth between the U.S. and Thailand, I think for like 10 years now. He's shot everything, and actually I want to get him on to talk about the cruise ship because he was there. He flew down to Phuket for that, and that was a special night.
I wish I could have got to go shoot that event. I've
about
looked at the gallery so many times.
3 years before you came here, I think.
Yeah.
Or 2 years maybe. But man, that was I took the ship from Penang to Phuket. I was on the boat the whole time. So I'm not gonna tell too many stories. I'll wait till Bob's here because he knows a lot of the details around it. It'll be fun, but that's just the type of weird stuff you see in Asia in general.
Absolutely. Back in the States and when I was based in California, it was a great scene. MMA all the time, every weekend, jiu-jitsu everywhere, but it was pretty standardized.
Yeah.
You knew what you were getting. The California Athletic Association was great.
Top commission.
The best.
Yeah.
I mean, you go in and you see all the biggest names there at even small events, but they had everything on lockdown, which is great and safe.
Yeah. No, and you want for the most part combat sports to be safe.
But there is something to be said about these nights where you just don't know what's going to happen. It's quite exciting.
It's funny because here in Thailand too, we have things where we might have street fights, bare knuckle street fights under a bridge, right? And it's like Facebook live streamed. And then you'll see like former UFC fighter Tommy Hayden is reffing bare knuckle street fights under a bridge. And you're just like, okay, yeah, that's normal.
Yep. Tommy was reffing just a few weeks ago over at Lions Head.
Yeah.
And, really interesting fights all night. And there was boxing, there was Muay Thai. There was
a 14-fight card.
That was, it was light out when we started. And it was quite dark when we finished. But, a bunch of good fights and up-and-coming fighters. Stan in there.
Stan's a beast, man. I dog his jiu-jitsu because, like I said, I saw him at the Copa de Bangkok. He doesn't look great on the ground. But his stand-up, I mean, if his grappling just gets a little better, like, how dangerous is that dude going to be?
So powerful.
230-pound, lean heavyweight who looks like Zangief from Street Fighter and smashes people.
Everybody. The last two he was at the last two events I covered, and it was everyone. It was just complete mismatch. Just smashing. At
the Full Metal Dojo fight, when he hit his opponent with the first punch, his opponent's face looked like he had never been hit before, and that guy's had 11 fights.
Yeah, he just backed off and didn't know what to do. He had zero response.
No, he didn't even throw a punch. But like just his face, like literally, like I've seen this guy fight half dozen times, and he's done very well against big, strong guys. And Stan hits him once, and he's just like, "Oh, my world is over. I don't know what's going on." Then we saw with Tangmo. Tangmo's a legend. Everyone knows Tangmo can take punches for days, and Tangmo came out swinging, and Stan had no problem.
And really, Tangmo caught Stan with one shot in the beginning.
Yeah.
And, for a lot of guys, that can cause some trouble, and Stan just smashed.
I think everyone's seen the GIF of that guy Tyson DeWeese just getting murked by Tangmo, and that's just Tangmo's a big dude, and when you're a big dude and you throw and you got power, and that guy Tyson's probably physically bigger than Tangmo, and he's roided out, and Tangmo lands one on him and just destroys his world with one punch, and Stan takes one clean.
I think that's why the world loves heavyweights. No matter how the fight's going, in general, if someone lands a big shot, it can turn the lights out and just end the fight at any moment.
Done. And the one thing I think people hate about heavyweights, though, is round 2 on.
That would be true.
Round 2 onward is not a good look.
For sure. And but I mean, particularly in America, it just seems like with the UFC shutting down the whole division, it just seems like they don't want to see the small guys go anymore. And for me, I think it's quite exciting. Yeah,
I love the small guy. And DJ is one of my favorite fighters to this day. I think he's a phenomenal fighter and just like so good, so well versed. And you watch guys at that weight fight, and there's no end to their gas tank.
Yep. And then the pay-per-view numbers that just don't show.
Yeah.
Growing up in a generation where we're watching Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan and Mike Tyson and all the big guys, that's...
Yeah, I love, I'm like everyone else. I love a heavyweight fight. I love watching big dudes bang. But if I really want to geek out, I'm going to watch a flyweight fight. I'm going to watch a bantamweight fight because it's just on another level, cardio-wise, pace-wise, technique-wise.
Well, the Muay Thai here, I've shot some Muay Thai in California, and then coming here, the gas tanks on these guys are just incredible, and ladies. There's no slowdown. There's nothing. Not like back in the States.
Well, the difference is that a lot of these guys train full time. Like, they live at the gym, they run every day, they train 3 times a day. They eat rice and chicken, and that's it. And they're just hoping to make it to that Buakaw or that Senchai level.
Yeah, I see some of these training programs, and they're running 10K twice a day.
Yeah.
There are not very many fighters in America running 12 miles a day.
No, and and then these guys, you see them like they might say like warm up with clinches. Like that's what they're telling you they're doing for their warm up. What they're doing is they're cranking necks and driving knees into the stomachs of each other
for an hour.
Yeah, and that's their warm up. Yep. And then they'll train.
Yep.
Like
after they ran 10K.
Twice. Yeah. It's brutal. And a lot of these guys who live at the gyms, like I've been out to some of the Muay Thai gyms here in Bangkok where, they have Thai fighters living there. And, it's just insane that, they do wake up at 5 and run, and then they train for a couple hours, then they eat and sleep, and then they do it again.
They're building monsters.
Yeah. But, one of the things that's really upset me is I haven't seen a ton of like these high-level Muay Thai guys be super successful in MMA yet. And, of course, it's a learning curve. Some of these guys have, and it's also a damage thing. Some of these guys have like 200 fights by the time they're 25.
It's crazy.
200 fights by the time you're 25. And how do you really like, get over your injuries and start to train for a sport that requires a whole new skill set when you're 200 fights deep on a career? It's insane.
And let's face it, a lot of the success in MMA comes from guys who have grappling backgrounds.
Yeah, for sure. Grappling's a huge part of the sport.
Whether it's how many NCAA wrestlers are there that are out there dominating MMA.
Yeah, wrestling's always been a huge base for, even in Pride, when Pride was, a lot of people saw that as more of a striker's, promotion. But, Coleman, Kerr, they dominated there.
And just the toughness you get from wrestling, the learning how to cut weight when you're 9 years old, you're going
to get Jib upset. You start talking about like 9-year-olds cutting weight.
That happens.
She's very anti-weight cutting because we've seen what it's done to some fighters. There was that Scottish kid that died out in Bangkok or in Isan maybe a year ago. I think you were out here for it. Remember, did we talk about that?
I don't believe so.
He couldn't make weight. He was like a pound or a kilo off or something. Wrapped himself in a plastic bag in the middle of Isan and went for a run. And they found him like a few hours later, like just collapsed on the side of the road.
It's I know California Athletic Commission's trying to work on a different way, but it's tough. It's tough.
No, it is for sure. It is, and
I don't think there's a good answer right now for it.
I think one's got a pretty good system in place where they're so in theory, if they're following their system, doing hydration checks, doing spot checks, checking all these things to make sure fighters aren't really cutting a crazy amount of weight. And they moved all the weight classes up, which is they made lightweight's a 170-pound fighter now, not a 155-pound fighter. So they're wanting people to fight closer to their natural weight. And I'm critical of one on a lot of things. I think lately they've been doing a lot of good stuff, so I've been talking about them a lot. But I've been really critical of a lot of the things one does. The one thing I can say with 100% certainty that I think they've done fantastically is weight cuts, as far as the policy. Now, if it's followed to that level, I don't know, but it's a good policy in practice.
Yeah, I mean, guys are always going to try to get an advantage where they can. It's
got to try to game the system if you can, right?
But if there's the correct checks in place, then I'm all for it. I mean, I think the less weight cutting that goes on is probably the better, and you get fresher fighters too.
For sure.
Working in the business for close to a decade now, I've seen some guys that do not look good the next day.
Yeah, and I've seen it over and over again. Then you see some guys on the scale though, and they're just like, "Dude, what happened to you?"
Yep.
You remember the last FMD? Glenn Sparv, fought for the 185-pound strap.
What a fight.
He made weight at middleweight, and the dude, I swear he was bigger than me on fight night. You know, I ref that fight. I'm in the cage, and I'm like, "What's up, middleweight? No,
Monster.
He's got steaks hanging off his back, right? And like just jacked. You know, that comes with experience. And I mean, yeah, you want fighters to have the ability to gain an advantage through something like weight cutting or whatever it is to a certain amount. But I mean, that was insane. And you see the pictures of him from weigh-ins, and dude did not look like the same human.
But he bounced back and he looked super fresh.
He looked amazing.
Looked super fresh.
Amazing. And by the same token, if you think back to the UFC days, you remember when Rumble Johnson used to make 170. Right?
He's a monster.
And
just
you
huge.
saw those photos of him recently, right? And he got like muscles growing off his muscles. You know, and you think, how did this human being make 170 pounds?
He should just go into the NFL and be a lineman. I mean,
Yeah, it was funny because less than a year after he fought at 170, I think he was fighting Andre Arlovsky at heavyweight. Think about that.
And he just turns chins, too. When he hits somebody, that's scary stuff.
Yeah, right? And
scary stuff.
people go out.
He's just when I see him, he's a scary human.
I remember when he fought Charlie Brenneman at 170, and that was like the last fight he actually made weight for, you know, outside of light heavyweight. And Charlie Brenneman just looks like a sort of a slightly larger lightweight. And then he gets in the cage with a guy like Rumble Johnson, and you're just like, what is up with you, you freak?
Yeah, that's the word for it. He's just a physical freak. He's a genetic dice roll. You throw 1 million dice, and all of them come up sixes sometimes.
Yeah. Insane.
But I do feel like you don't see many guys like that here in Asia.
No.
And then Stan comes around, and you're like, oh my god, you know, this guy's a real monster.
Risen is going to be just knocking his door down. I mean, he's got Risen written all over him.
It would make sense. I mean, he's here. He's putting in the work. He's working with Javi.
He's working with Javi over at Elite.
Yep.
Great gym.
And you know, they're putting out guys around here that are coming in and taking wins all over the place.
Yeah.
And he's going places, Stan. He might have to eventually either go to the States to go find some big guys in that size group, or
he's from the Ukraine.
Yep.
I don't know what type of visa issues he might have or not have, but you know, if he was with a big organization, obviously he could get.
They make it happen.
Yeah, they make it happen. But with Rizin, I mean, he's just got the look. I mean, everything about him just screams Rizin. Like, if he's gonna stay in Asia, you know, what's he gonna do? Go to one championship, and when Brandon Vera fights again in 2.5 years, he'll challenge for the belt. You know, it's unrealistic, and I don't think one's looking to build big heavy weight classes. You know, they're really focused on, I think, middleweight and below.
People want to see, I think, in general, people more like them.
Yeah.
You know, I walk around the United States, and I'm a small guy.
Yeah.
I walk around, and I took the subway here, and I was a monster on that subway.
Right?
I'm like,
imagine how I feel. Imagine how I feel.
Well, to get in the door of your apartment, they're like, where are you going? I'm like, to see Dana, you know, big. They're like, oh, go.
Like, just go ahead. Yeah, we know what you're talking about.
The big guy. I'm going to see the big guy.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much how it is.
But I'm on the subway. I'm on the subway, and I feel like a monster. And I walk around, and everybody's, oh, the fat guy, the fat guy.
Yeah.
I'm
But,
like,
you know, people are smaller here, but, you know, you spent some time in Malaysia as well. You covered a few Mimas, right?
absolutely.
And there's some big boys in Malaysia.
For sure.
Did you get to see Darren Lowe fight?
I don't believe so. I don't.
He dropped out of the tournament a little bit over halfway through, but he's essentially undefeated Mima champion for like 6 years. And he's probably the only natural heavyweight we ever saw in the Mima tournament. And most of his fights went like this. Referee says fight, Darren punches someone, and the fight is over. I think I've only seen him leave the first round once. And that was the championships 2 years ago. He went to a decision with Kai, who now is fighting at like middleweight or something ridiculous.
Lost a bunch.
Yeah, most of the heavyweights in Southeast Asia are lightweights who love KFC way too much.
KFC's good. KFC runs the show around
Yeah,
here.
KFC's king in Southeast Asia, man. Forget Mickey D's.
There's amazing fried chicken all over the place, and then KFC has a line out the door.
Right. Look, you can buy amazing fried chicken on like a street vendor for like $1, but someone will pay like, I'll pay $6 for some fried chicken at KFC.
Yeah, I thought America was like fried chicken place. I got over to Thailand, and I'm like, wow.
Not even close, son. Not even close.
Blown away.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like there's a lot of I'm a big guy here, so there's a lot of smaller fighters here and I think people want to see that more. They want to see the action. They're used to Muay Thai where it's just full gas the entire fight, except for that first round when everybody's placing bets at Lumpini.
Yeah,
but,
you see the guys with
hey, slow down. We didn't get
throwing
all the bets in yet.
Yeah, throwing fingers. I've seen that at Ratchethamung once. I brought some friends and we're sitting there and you see the fighters look over while they're fighting at the guy taking bets. And then they adjust based on what he's telling them with hand signals.
I pretty much don't pick up my camera the first round if I'm at Lumpini or
Ratchethamung.
Yeah, Ratchethamung. I never pronounce it right.
Yeah, I'm probably saying it wrong.
Story of my life around here, but that's all right.
But it's the Muay Thai. One of the things, some of the fighters that we have seen transition into Muay Thai who have done really well. Top Noise, one of them, out of Tiger, and I've seen him fight, I don't know, 5 times now, and he gets better and better every time. But he still has that very hard hitting Muay Thai style. But he's kind of like a Nick Diaz type of character. I remember Rock War. Were you at Rock Wars in Pattaya?
I was not.
Yeah, I think that was before you were here. And he comes out. It's live on TV. I want to say it was on like True Digital, and in Thailand. And they were streaming on Facebook and stuff. And Top Noi comes out, looks at the camera, jumps, spins around, and flips off directly to the only camera that was on at the time. So it went to broadcast. Just flips it off and walks back to his corner. But he does that at the start of every fight. But it's tough to get like a TV play. But he's in Risen now, so he's fighting in Risen. So it worked out for him. But I like watching him fight. It's exciting.
And I think MMA is gaining a lot of ground here, and people are getting more excited about it. But I feel like they're used to the Muay Thai action, the constant go, go, go. And then when a fight goes to the ground, everybody's looking around like, what's happening?
Well, I went to I've been to all the one events except for one here in Bangkok. And the first one, they had a big concert afterwards, and it stayed full the whole time. I think it was like the third one they had here. The concert that they did was at the beginning. And after the concert, it was like some like Thai Willie Nelson type guy. After that concert, everyone left. And we're in the middle of Impact Arena, which I got to say this because this bothers the hell out of me. Impact Arena is not in Bangkok. It is the most inconvenient place to get to. It's out in Nonthaburi or something like that. It's outside the city limits. It is really inconvenient to get to, yet it's really the only place that could host an event like one. So it's kind of like a catch-22. Anyway, I just want to say I really hate that.
Bangkok can at sometimes be the most convenient place to get around if it's right off the MRT or BTS, or the worst. I mean, I thought LA traffic was bad, and then I got to Bangkok, and I'm like, LA's pretty good.
You haven't been to Yangon yet, right?
No, not yet.
Just wait, son. Wait.
And I hear Jakarta too, right?
Jakarta's bad. Is worse than Bangkok, not as bad as Yangon. Probably Manila and Yangon are the 2 worst traffic-wise.
All right, so I'll try to stay out of that for a little bit.
You haven't done Manila yet either, right?
Not yet. This trip, I plan on trying to get to the Philippines for a month or so.
Yeah, because you're going to Cambodia.
Yep.
In a couple days.
Yeah, in like 3 days or so.
So I'm glad I got you on before you went, because I know you're going to be going a few months, right? Traveling.
Yeah. Go check in Cambodian top team.
Yeah. Chun Reach out there.
Yep. Try to get a little jiu-jitsu in while I'm there.
Nice. Try to get a roll with Little Frog.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
If that can happen.
I'm very good at getting submitted by females, so
happens.
Yep.
I hear you have trouble passing the guard.
Oh yeah.
That's what I heard.
Oh really?
You get stuck in the guard, right, when you roll with women?
Yeah, it happens from time to time. Not by choice.
Not by choice. It just they're so good.
Yes. Yeah, and triangled like crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'll get to spend some time in Cambodia.
Some great fighters out in Cambodia, man.
Hopefully I'll be able to track down some kind of event. I don't know how easy it'll be, but I'll try to go shoot in some gyms, some training. Some of the one guys training out of Cambodia top team.
So one of my favorite fighters out of Cambodia, other than Little Frog, obviously, I think she's everyone's favorite Cambodian fighter. She's great great personality, but is Mezamu. The guy, you were at the fight. Were you at the FM? No, because the last FMD was your first one, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a long time between.
Yeah, it was like over a year, I think, between the two. But he tapped out Alan Solomon Chong, guy who from Saba. I like to call him the Hebrew Hammer. But he tapped him out in his last fight, and in his last FMD fight, it was just really gritty. He ended up getting signed to 1. And like I've seen Meza just like, you think he's done. Like I thought he was done in the first round against Alan Chong, and comes out in the second round like nothing happened. It just takes it to him. And then I saw him fight Top Yai, the other top from Phuket top team. Oh, not from Phuket, from Tiger. And same thing, like he was getting just beat up. You know, Top's a Muay Thai guy, just chopping away at him. Comes out the next round, takes care of business.
There's something to be said about that. I love those guys who you see them getting hit and getting hit, like Frankie Edgar type, where they can get smashed and then all of a sudden
Almost
turn
done.
around and back at it like nothing happened and just go on to take that victory. And for me, that's the most exciting type of fight, the back and forth fight.
And that's Meza. And then you see Meza smoking cigarettes outside the club, like after his fight, right? Like, wow. That's Cambodian MMA, you know.
I'll get to get my first taste of it hopefully next month.
Is you gonna pop into Cambodian top team?
Absolutely, yeah. Go see.
Chan Reach is a good dude.
And bounce around. I wanna continue trying to, I wanna shoot over there. There's a bunch of good fighters in there, and try to get some exposure for the scene.
Yeah, a lot of the Cambodian fighters have a very similar style base wise to Thai fighters, where they have that kind of Muay Thai, great kicks, a lot of great clinch work, Muay Thai, Muay Khmer, those two styles, a lot of really, really good clinch, and I think that translates so well to MMA.
When you see a guy who's good at it and lands those elbows in there, they just devastate people.
Or the clinch to the trip, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like effortless.
Mm-hmm.
Like when someone like you said, when they're good at it, and you see them like the way they move in for it, and it's like boom, behind the head, on the elbow. Whoa, how they end up on the ground, right? And
then easy to pass when these guys just get tossed like that, and then all of a sudden side control, and then right on top smashing.
Yeah, I've seen some of you see it more in Muay Thai. Some of the guys who have transitioned are good at it, but you go to a pure Muay Thai fight, like you go to MBK Fight Night, and some of the guys you see there are just top level Muay Thai guys, and they'll hit a trip or they'll land something like you said, an elbow from inside that clinch, and you're just like, how is that physically possible that this other guy's still standing? And it's just like.
And it's something that's so different shooting MBK compared to shooting Muay Thai in the States. Like when people get in a clinch, that's when the crowd gets really excited.
Yeah, because they know what's going to happen.
And in the States, it feels like that's when everybody slows down. They want to see, even if it's a big swinging, sweeping kick that is a foot away from landing, people get excited about it. Here, they get in a clinch and the crowd gets revved up.
You know what's about to happen.
Yeah,
you can feel it.
And I love shooting MBK. The last two events have just been out of hand.
It's a great show. They put a great show on.
And it was so sad to see their champion just pass away last week. But that's life, right?
Happens.
But and she went out and she won a belt that night, and then it happens.
Yeah.
But the last event had 3 out of the 6 fights with no gloves, just the ropes.
Yeah.
And head kick KO where the guy landed 6 inches away from where I was standing. I couldn't even have my camera out. I was just in shock and disbelief. I hope he's awake now.
I was out there filming one night, and I put my camera on the apron, outside the ropes, and it's still running. I was just kind of repositioning my hands, and like 2 seconds later, a sweep trip, and I pull my camera back just in time. I've got the film of it where the guy just lands, boom, right where my camera was. You can't blink.
No, and I used to stand up on top of the apron there and up against the ropes, and then it would just get a little too physical. I've been caught with an elbow up top, and I'm like, okay, I'll go back down.
I try to work out from the corner when I shoot there. Like I try to get in the fighter's corner right up on the apron, and try to get some shots above the ropes. I think you get some good angles that way.
And it's just so much different from California, where
you can't do that.
No, you see kids eating a sandwich and putting the plate down on top of the apron.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky over the years. In the beginning, I was getting press passes and getting a seat 8 rows away. And then I was able to get cage side. And then finally I worked up to where I was able to shoot from above the ring up on a pedestal.
Nice.
But it was just very different to be able to stand on the apron and have your hands on the ropes and stick my camera through and just really be that close. But if you don't move quick, you're going to get bloody too.
Yeah, for sure. And I personally out here, I don't want to be getting fighters' blood on me. Especially, as much as I love the scene out here, there's definitely a lack of medicals at some of the smaller shows. Now, I'm pretty sure MBK does run medicals on their guys. I see the doctors there and the nurses doing the pre-checks and everything. But, I'm not going to name names, but I've known MMA promotions out here to kind of skate on that because it costs money.
Sure.
It's like, just let them fight.
Yeah, I hope they do also, because 2 fights ago from MBK, I got covered in blood, shirt, shorts.
Wow.
Dripping on my cheek, the
really?
works. And my ride home on the BTS, everyone was staring at me. Cause
what did this giant Farung do?
Yeah, with a backpack and blood all over his shirt and shorts.
Oh my God.
That train gets pretty busy, but I had about 2 feet of space around me that day. Everybody else was packed like sardines, and I had my own elbow room and everything.
Probably could have got a seat if you really pressed for it.
But yeah, I was covered.
Man, that
made some great photos though.
Yeah, good show. You get any blood on the lens?
That event, I don't know, over the years many times.
I like the you ever see the shots where a photographer will get blood on the lens and then they shoot through the blood and you can still see it, like adding a little bit of like vignetting around the image.
Absolutely. And I had to get used to even just the amount of water that gets sprayed around here in Muay Thai, that they just, pop a hole in a bottle and spray it all over. And I just hold my camera away and try to hide it and just get soaked every time with God knows what.
In Muay Thai, that's not such a big deal because they put those plates down, right? And then they pull them out and they basically just dump all the water off on the side. In MMA, when they come in and do that, though, they don't use those plates, and so they soak the canvas in the corners. And I've seen fighters, as much as you wipe it up, it's a canvas, or it should be a canvas. And, underneath there's some foam, so it just soaks it up. And, I've seen fights where, they get back in that corner after someone just had, a gallon of water dumped on them between rounds. And, they're rolling and, water's shooting up out of the canvas.
And it gets slippery. I've seen guys slip, but here, especially with Muay Thai, they don't dry them off so much. So, man, it makes wonderful photos.
Yeah, a lot of spray.
Those first exchanges when they come out. And here lighting is just more prevalent at events. I work big events in the States where the lighting is just lesser than even small events here.
Yeah, in MBK, I love it because they're covered now, too. So they're controlling a lot of the light better. Whereas before... they were up on the top level and it was open. So sometimes you get moonlight shooting through, which looks cool and everything. But if you're trying to shoot the event, then you're always adjusting for the changing light.
I love the colors at MBK, the blues and reds that are in the background. Yeah, they do a great job lighting, But then the bright whites, so when that water sprays, it's just...
Boom.
The last one, I have one of my photos, just a whole big trail of spit and squiggles that are sticking out.
Wow.
It was sometimes it's great to be perfect and get that shot when the punch lands that moment. Yeah. But that just a fraction after was an even more compelling photo because you just see the trail of fluids leaking out of the human.
Yeah.
And
that's always great.
But the sprays, the first exchange, you always have to be ready here because it's going to get wet and it's going to look great in a photo whether it lands or not.
True. And yeah, we were both at the AMC fight night over at Lion's Head, which is a great boxing gym JR runs over here in Bangkok. But we were talking earlier about that 14 fights on that card. We saw Stan fight, but also my boy Greg Edwards, Maganja, fought on that brutal knockout win.
He looked great. He looked so strong.
Dude, last time I saw him fight was at Trinity. He came down for one of the Trinity events and he lost a decision in the first bracketed round of the tournament. You know, tough loss, but you know, it was a good learning experience for him. You know, whatever they're doing up there at Team Quest Thailand, Chiang Mai, the dude was a different human being. You know,
he looked like he just had a different level of strength and intensity than his opponent at AMC.
Completely, and I think that guy was out of Elite or BFL.
I don't recall.
Yeah, it was one of the two. I remember because Tommy was talking to him beforehand, and it was like, "Oh, it's tough reffing one of my former students." And he was the head coach at both of those for a while, but you know, yeah, Greg just looked phenomenal. And you know, he's doing it. He's kind of learning. He's a bit older to try to make a pro run at it. And he realizes that, but, you know, like I said, the training he's getting up there, man, you would think he's like a 20-year-old, the way he looks, the way he moved, his strength, his skill. I mean, he's picking it up fantastically.
And it depends on the person, you know. Some of these guys, like we were talking about earlier, when they have 200 fights already, when they're 20 years old, that's a lot of mileage you have on you.
It is.
I've shot kids fighting here who are like 11 years old.
8, 3.
You know, and no headgear, you know.
No. Elbows and knees.
Kicks, knees, elbows, all of it, you know, and then it adds up. It adds up. And, you know, it's hard miles.
Yeah, it is.
So,
you know, I see like up at Team Quest, they got Dylan Fussels, their head coach. He's like he's a staple in Asian MMA. He was on the cruise ship, actually, fought that. I've seen him fight a number of times. And, you know, he's obviously strapped together a great program and a team up there. How about the girl from their team that fought that night, her first MMA fight?
Oh, was
she's like Estonian.
The blonde girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a bunch of great photos of that fight. That was actually when the lighting was coming in good from the outside.
I can't remember her name. I apologize. It was my first time meeting her.
Sonia, maybe?
Maybe something. I'll look it up. Yeah. And actually, I want to get her on the podcast because, you know, the way she looked on that fight, she's gonna blow up.
Dominant
in the women's division here, especially. And she lives in the gym.
Yeah.
Greg was telling me, like, she lives in the gym and she just trains all day.
Oh, to be young.
Like, I work out once in a day. I can't recover. You know, homegirl's training all day long. I'm pissed. I'm just pissed.
It's not fair that youth is wasted on young.
Right? I need some of that stem cell treatment. Get me back to, like, my 20s.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's available somewhere here.
Somewhere here. Yeah. Probably over on Soy 11.
Yeah, most likely.
One door down from the ambassador.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, so I know you said you want to do Philippines on your coming trip.
Yep.
You know, one of the things I love about the fighters who come out of Manila, well, the Philippines in general, not just Manila, it's a huge country, but great boxing, hands. And you see those fighters, like they generally have kind of weak Muay Thai, right? I've seen a handful of fighters, like even like you see Rocky Batol, who's now with ONE. You know, he's a well-rounded fighter, but hands are his strength. You know, he's a Filipino guy, trains at Lion's Head, you know, got good ground. His Muay Thai game is weak, though, right? Like, he doesn't have great kicks, you know, because his hands are so strong. But guys like him who can box and have good wrestling, we see them give the Muay Thai guys a hard time. You know, it's that change up in style. And, you know, when you look country to country, and I know John Nutt's got this whole Kumite thing going on, where he's going to have country versus country, but, you know, Philippines versus Thailand's great matchup because you get a Filipino with good wrestling and decent hands versus a guy with a Muay Thai base who's got pretty good jiu-jitsu but great clinch game and kicks. Styles make fights, man.
Absolutely. And then, you know, those Muay Thai guys, some of those kicks aren't getting thrown as much when you're worried about getting taken down.
For sure.
Like Khabib versus Conor.
Yeah.
Connor had to worry, and that's how
his gun shy.
Yeah, and that's how Khabib could have that huge overhand right that lands that most coaches would say never throw that
never
punch.
throw that. Yeah,
but dropped him
Yeah.
because he's worried about that takedown, and once you get taken down, you're down.
and you saw he was in a world of hurt.
Yeah,
Especially when you got a guy like Khabib on top of you.
Yeah, once he gets those legs locked up, and then you're just hoping to make it through to hear the horn and get to the next round.
Yeah, we see a lot of Dagestani fighters here in Asia, and there was one at AMC even, the guy with the beard and no mustache, and what a beast he was.
That was a crazy fight. In the first round, he wasn't looking great, and then he came back, and oh my lord,
The guy he fought, Mustafa's an absolute beast. I mean, that guy, he's legit. Like, I've seen him fight in Mima down in Malaysia, and this was his pro debut. But, I mean, he's a legit fighter. He's got great skill. He trains out of Monarchy, where Pete Davis trains. And, it's a legit gym with a lot of good guys and a lot of, like, strong wrestlers like Mehdi, who just fought Glenn. Yeah. And, he looked great in the first round, but I think it was gas tank, But the Dagestani guy obviously wasn't tired. And then he was like, well, I can just suplex you and smash you. Okay, I'll just continue to do that over and over again.
No quitting those guys.
No.
I was a few months back at the Wrestling World Championships.
Yeah. Oh, in Budapest? Yeah.
And, you see these guys out of all the stands and Russia, and you're like, these guys are incredible.
Yeah.
It looks like they've been doing it since they were in the cradle.
Probably have been.
And it's one of those where you watch the Olympics, and a bunch of the countries you see, you go there and it's, wait, what flag is that?
Yeah.
Turkmenistan? But that whole group of the stands, they dominate.
Yeah,
They're
wrestling's on another level.
Unbelievable. You see, there was one guy from Spain who got the first medal that Spain has ever gotten.
And some guy from Tajikistan or Turkmenistan who's got like 50. They've got 50.
Yeah, they've got guys in there all day. And even Iran. Guys in there all day. And
Dude, great
and the crowd,
fighters out of Iran.
And the crowd. There was a huge portion of the crowd that was Iranian.
Yeah.
It was incredible. They had a whole contingent of people just loud and cheering for their team.
Yeah, I love like a lot of the Iranian fighters, especially we see a lot of them here in Asia because they can't fight in the U.S. and a lot of them can't get fights in Europe because of visa issues. I know one of them who was denied a visa to Australia, and he had a booked fight, and the promoter wrote him a letter for the visa, and they're like, "Nah, sorry." But we get to see them fight here, and guys like Amir Ali Akbari or my boy Ali Mohammed, who they can come to Thailand and train and get fights and just smash guys.
Yeah, no one cares what the government's doing or beefs between different countries where people are people.
Yeah, and fighter's a fighter, and like Amir, like he ended up going on to Risen, fought in the Grand Prix, made it to the finals against Crow Cop. That's a dude who could be on a completely other level, anywhere else. But I mean, we're fortunate here in Asia that he can't go anywhere else, and the biggest fights for him are in Asia. And I've actually reffed 2 of his fights, I believe, and I've seen him fight, a handful more times, and the guy's a monster. The other guy is Masood, also from Iran, who trains out of AKA Thailand, and another beast of a human being, and just no quit in him, and he's just a monster. I'm very happy that these guys can't fight anywhere other than Asia because I get to see them fight. I mean, I'm sad for them, don't get me wrong, but in a selfish way, I'm kind of happy about it.
Yeah, it's a shame when someone's career gets put on somewhat hold
because of geopolitics,
because of the color of their passport. Because the name printed on the front.
Exactly.
And I've gone through customs, and I'm fortunate to have a U.S. passport.
Blue passport, yeah.
Where they just don't even look at me. They just stamp and let me go. And then the guy next to me is getting 12 questions. And they're just people going to live their life.
Exactly.
And especially these guys. Some of these guys could probably be fighting on the biggest stages there are, but they have problems with getting visas just because of politics.
Yeah, geopolitics and just stupid. An orange dude sitting in a chair, making decisions. But I feel like we're in kind of a golden age, a resurgence of a golden age, second golden age of Asian MMA, in the post-Pride era, where we've got one championship making huge moves. We've got Risen, Road FC in Korea, Rebel in Hong Kong, like all these great promotions that are paying dudes and putting on great fights and legitimate fights. So no better time to be a fan of Asian MMA than right now. And then even look at like the small promotions. We've had, 4 good years of FMD. Unfortunately, it seems like that's over. But 5 amazing years of the MIMA tournament.
Even this Ignite Fight series.
Yeah.
Coming into town and having amazing production. And
Ply's putting on fantastic shows with Ignite and One Shin. Where else are you going to see that?
It's a great show, and again, I walk into this production studio and see this setup, and I'm like, huge events sometimes in the United States, big promotions that have guys going to the UFC after winning there do not have setups like this.
Ply has done a fantastic job, and I think what Ply is doing for especially amateur MMA in Thailand is going to change the game, because he's working very closely with IMAF and Karif Brown, and I just see Thailand has the potential, the young potential, to develop a grassroots system that is going to dominate, just like Mexico with boxing, right? And, the lighter weights of MMA could be wholly dominated by Asian fighters in the next decade.
And with the amount of jiu-jitsu coming into this country and high-level guys teaching these guys when they're young, if they have this base of Muay Thai, and then if they have a lot of jiu-jitsu, they're going to be murking people.
Just look at the jiu-jitsu coaches we have here in Bangkok, right? Within like literally 20 minutes from where we are right now, Adam Kayyum at Q23.
The man.
The monster. He's a monster. We rolled the other day and a few weeks ago, and he just like, I couldn't do anything to him. You got a hold of my gi. I was like, just, you were there. You saw what he did to me.
I watched.
It wasn't fun.
It was similar to what you did to me earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Earlier in the night is what I did to you. But he's teaching some of these guys. He's got Boss on the that he trains there. Boss is fought amateur. He's a monster, and he's got like I think he's doing a master's degree in engineering, and
a very nice dude.
And he's an awesome human being, And Adam trains a couple fighters, but he's not a fighter gym, right? But then you got Lee Livingston, who trains like Shannon Wichachai, Rika Ishington. A lot of other fighters come to Lee specifically for MMA jiu-jitsu. You've got Morgan over at the Fight Lab, training guys in jiu-jitsu. Morgan's legit. They like the footlocks over there, though, man.
Breaking legs.
Blowing out ACLs. And then you got Javier running the camp over at Elite. And I love Javier because he's a straight wrestling guy. He knows jiu-jitsu, but he knows how to use wrestling. And that's where Stan's training. I think you're going to see guys coming out of Elite with that strong wrestling base that a lot of jiu-jitsu guys are missing.
Sure. But
solid jiu-jitsu as well. And Javi's really into that 10th Planet style, which is a bit too tinfoil hat for me, but you can't argue with results.
Absolutely. I mean, I used to shoot out of the 10th Planet downtown, the headquarters, for a while, and the faces you'd see in there, the Alan Jobons, the Tony Fergusons, the Ben Saunders. Like, I would walk in that gym and be like, these are the who's who
Cannot
of the
argue
UFC.
With results.
And those guys are out there taking wins like crazy. I mean, Tony Ferguson.
Yeah, monster.
Who doesn't want to see Tony Ferguson fight Khabib? Oh, my God.
All day long.
That's the fight we've been waiting for years.
Years, yeah. Oh,
one day, maybe.
One day. It might happen. It might happen.
But yeah, I'd walk into that gym and all the who's who of the UFC are in there, making it happen. So you can't argue with results.
Cannot argue with the results.
I mean, and I'm a huge fan of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I love wearing a gi, but once you get in the MMA cage,
I hate wearing a gi.
There's no lapel to grab.
Hate wearing a gi.
It gets a little warm.
Hate it. But anyway, Walsh, I want to thank you for taking the time to come out here. I really appreciate it. I got to wrap it up, though. Do me a favor. Let all of the listeners know where they can find your work.
Head to theclinchreport.com. You can see work there. Clinch Report on Facebook, Instagram, the Clinch Report or Clinch Picks. We run both.
All right, cool.
And if you're in Bangkok, check out Q23 for some
sure.
amazing jiu-jitsu.
For sure, absolutely. And Adam said he's doing no gi next year, so I might be rolling through more often.
And it has air conditioning.
It does have AC. It does. Probably the only one of 2 gyms that I listed that have aircon. All right, guys. I went through all those links down in the show notes. Check out Walsh. Walsh, you're headed to Cambodia in 4 days.
Yep.
So he'll be posting from Cambodia, and I know you said you're doing some Indonesia and some Philippines.
Yep. I'll probably hit Malaysia a little bit too. Then I'll be down Phuket, down the islands.
Yeah. A lot of great fighters out of all these places. So if you want to see really like an up close and personal visual, like photo essay style, the galleries that Walsh puts up are fantastic. Follow his Instagram, Clinch Pics, for sure, because you put up a lot of good stuff there. And check that out. Walsh, thanks for coming in. Enjoy Cambodia.
Thanks for having me, Dana. And sad to leave Bangkok. It feels like my home now.
I'll see you in a few months.
Yeah, I'll be back.
All right, brother.
I can't
Thank you.
stay away.